Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents More Than Meets the Third Eye. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so that you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at QueenAhmadiyyah, also on Instagram at divine_goddess_27, on Brighton and Patreon at QueenAhmadiyyah, and also please let's go ahead and get the likes up. Let's get the likes up. So M is blessed that I didn't get the notification. Well, you know how they do, beloved. So listen, people, let me just tell you this. It's very important. In fact, it is detrimental that when I tell you the times that I'm going live, that you keep that in mind, because YouTube doesn't send out notifications all the time. And also, they have been sabotaging my live streams. Many of you may have seen the post that I made on YouTube, right? I'll also be sharing that on Twitter and Instagram when I finish this live. But they have been sabotaging my live streams because they're such haters, okay? They if I post a live tonight that I'm going to do in the morning, they change the times. Now, you all know that I go live at 9 a.m. in the mornings for your morning wake-up call, and I go live at 6 p.m. in the evenings for your daily vitamin. Sometimes I do live streams in between, or I may come on early, but I still go on at 9 and I still go on at 6 all the time. That never changes unless I give you a specific indication, like posted it on my other social media, that I'm not going live at those times. Other than that, if you see a live stream, for like 1:30 in the morning, or you see one that says it was posted at, 10 hours before and there's no views, like I said, that is nothing but YouTube up to their tricks, because they love to hate on people. And this is what they do. But this is all making my case against them very good. Okay, that's all they're doing. All right, so let's get into it. I have a PowerPoint presentation. We're going to talk about Watico consciousness. Now, for my moderators, I'm sure you remember that in the meeting we had yesterday that I talked about Watico consciousness. Just for a brief moment, I basically told you it is like a virus of selfishness, wickedness, and evilness. And this is what the Native Americans believed that the Europeans had when they first came to this land. Okay? So ScrewTube need to sit down somewhere, because the real black television is telling the truth and y'all hate it, but you'll be okay, and the Most High will take care of you. Absolutely, Della, beloved. Absolutely. Okay? So just let me in, and just now let you in conscious. See how they do? They are hating so hard. Yes, they are absolutely true justice. Hating hard, honey. Hardest working woman in the conscious community. Thank you, Mega. Thank you, Mega Traveling Man. Sorry, I didn't make the meeting, Queen. Oh, no, that's okay, beloved. That's okay. All right, so with that all being said, let's go ahead and get into it, because as I said, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I want to show to you about this Watico consciousness. We're going to talk about that and how to avoid it, right? So let me go ahead and share my screen. Everyone, please be sure to get the likes up. Please like and share. And it is up to you all to share my videos. It's very important that you share them, because we see how YouTube is clearly hating. I mean, they just don't get enough. I must clearly pose a threat to them, because there's much bigger YouTubers on YouTube that they don't even bother. So what is the issue with the Queen? We have to ask ourselves. Clearly, I'm telling the truth about everything I say. And that is what frightens them. Because at the end of the day, they don't care if you're on here lying. Okay, that's what they don't care. And people who are being fake pro-black, they don't care about them either. That's why they don't bother them. They don't ban them. They don't, try to sabotage their channels and live streams. They only do that to true, authentic pro-black people who are really out here empowering and inspiring and giving the truth to our people. That's what they do. So let me get into it. Okay, Watico consciousness. According to Native Americans, Watico is an evil spirit that invades human minds. It's a virus of selfishness, like a psychic pathogen, forcing the victim to feed their insatiable needs as if they were starving. It makes humanity become its own worst enemy. These are clearly wicked and nefarious people. Have you ever been around someone? Maybe you've been in the presence of someone who just always is negative, who always has this need to, give a sad story, always seeking empathy, always complaining and whining, always being wicked. People that are always, doing dirt, gossiping about other people, always hating on what other people have, always talking down, being pessimistic, always just trying to keep up mess. These people likely have Watico consciousness, okay? Because it's clearly a demonic energy that some people just can't shake. And I've told you before on the paranormal channel, Beyond the Realm, that these people who have these demonic energies and these low vibrational frequencies, they are, not only low vibrational because of their own thinking, but it's usually something else that they're engaging in, like drinking too much alcohol, abusing drugs, things that alter the mind. That's where these demonic entities are able to come in there and influence and persuade them, and also eventually possess them if they don't get the help that they need. Now, Watico is a word that Native Americans use to designate an evil person who never worries about the well-being of others. These are people who don't have a conscience. These are people who only feel remorse, who only express empathy and sympathy when it pertains to themselves. They never have any to share with anyone else. Or they are people who only feel empathy and sympathy for their own kind, like racist people. They feel empathy for themselves and their people, but never for the people that they're being racist against. That's why you can see how cops talk kindly to white people, but when they're talking to Black people, they have to be so overly aggressive, overzealous, and so rude and indignant. Now, we live in an era where most psychosocial phenomena proves the existence of a virus of selfishness. You see, every virus seeks a host to invade and to feed off of. However, each of us can put up defensive barriers. We can strengthen our psychological immune system to keep from being infected by selfishness. And how do you ask that? I'm glad you asked. General Louverture says psychopaths. Absolutely. They have no conscience. They were born that way. And then you have the sociopath who also has no conscience. They became that way through different things that may have occurred in their lives. But with that all being said, when we talk about, the virus of selfishness and how you can basically put up defensive barriers to prevent yourself from being one of these people, because these people are very wicked, and selfish, not selfless. They're inhumane, right? They have no remorse or regret for the wicked things that they do. They have no problem doing them. And in fact, it makes them happy. They sometimes gain euphoric pleasure from being wicked. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about some people who have that type of energy and that type of consciousness. That would be all of the racist devils who enslaved our ancestors, the racist devils who for 150 years during Jim Crow lynched, humiliated, beat, brutalized, and terrorized and acted as domestic terrorists to Black people. Those people have that type of consciousness, Wetiko consciousness, okay? And the thing is this, in order for us not to catch this virus of wickedness and selfishness, because clearly it's contagious, because remember, as I told you before, energy is contagious. If you're happy and excited and you're around other people who are happy and excited, or you're around other people in general, they'll tend to be smiling and laughing with you. But if you're around a room full of people who are being hateful and, looking at you crazy and all of that, that lowers your vibrational frequency. And then you start asking yourself, like, why the hell are they looking at me crazy? What did I do? And then all of a sudden you get an attitude just as they have. So that, and some of the things that you can do to put up defensive barriers would be to not eat toxic foods, like try to stay away from GMOs, preservatives, those type of things. Fast foods are the worst. These foods have chemicals in them clearly. You can test it yourself, because if you ever know that you eat McDonald's and you have it left over for weeks, it literally looks the same. Like, why doesn't it have mold and mildew? Why hasn't it started, decaying or whatever, or smelling really bad? That's because these foods have chemicals in them. So you can eat a healthy diet, A plant-based diet is best, but if you can't eat an entire plant-based diet, it's best to refrain from eating things like pork. Of course, that's the worst. Definitely not to eat pork. Also, to stay away from red meat. And here's the thing to let you know, people. If you notice, when you fix a steak, you know you have to beat it often for it to get tender. You have to beat it, right? To make it tender. Now, that should be a clue to you that you're not supposed to be eating that. Okay? That's for animals to eat. You should not be eating that, because at the end of the day, anything that you have to beat so that it's, tender enough for you to chew, let you know that you should not be chewing it. And also, yes, beloved, misery does love company, Queenadia. Absolutely. People who are low vibrational cannot stand to see these people who have high vibrational frequencies. And let me tell you something. I'm glad you brought that up, because this is why you see a lot of racist devils. You see them walking down the street, or you see them entering a building, and they see a black person that's unfamiliar to them, and they instantly want to know, who are you? Why are you here? Do you know somebody? I'm going to call the cops. And they make these bogus 911 calls, and they try to prevent black people from going into swimming pools, want to demand if they live in the residence where the pool is, and all of these things. Well, they do that because low vibrational frequency people, they cannot stand to see you happy. And we know that racist devils, of course, they're low vibrational, and the people that are their targeted race are black people. So no, they cannot stand to see black people happy, because we are the ones that their angst is directed towards. As a kid, I would see a steak and think, ugh, that's too much meat, LOL. Okay, absolutely. And it's tough at that, and we definitely should not be eating it. Now, when indigenous communities came in contact with the first European pilgrims, the Native Americans said they were infected with Watico. It was a tribe of the Cree in Canada who used this concept for the first time. However, the Ojibwa, for example, already were using the well-known term Wendigo. Now, you all know about Wendigo because I talked to you about that at length on my paranormal channel, Beyond the Realm. I did a whole video on that about the Wendigo, which is also a Native American belief in a demon, a demonic presence that possesses people and causes them to act savagely, animalistic, like the guy I told you about on the Greyhound bus who cut off someone's head while they were trying to sleep. He attacked them and decapitated them. They said this person was possessed by a Wendigo. Wendigo is, like an evil entity, evil presence, or whatever that affects someone. And the natives also came up with that term, and they basically say that this started in Canada, this belief. Now, whatever the case, the mental concept that they had of the white people or civilized man was that of an individual affected by the virus of selfishness. And why would they have that type of thought about them? I'm glad you asked, because let's not forget, when the pilgrims came over here to Turtle Island, it's now America, but it was originally Turtle Island. And when they came over here, they actually, the natives welcomed them with open arms, gave them food, showed them how to plant crops so that they could continue to eat, sat down and had a feast with them, which now people call Thanksgiving. And with that all being said, what did they do to show them their gratitude? Well, they gave them blankets full of smallpox that killed many of them. They committed genocide on them. So yes, I would absolutely say those are people who have the virus of selfishness and wickedness, because everything they did was for the betterment of themselves. They didn't care about killing people. They didn't care how nice the natives had been and how the natives had reached out to help them. They didn't care about any of that. So clearly they were devils. Now, the virus led them to desire the force of nature and its resources as their own. So they came over here to a land that wasn't theirs, and they laid claim on it and wanted to gather all of the resources and own this land for themselves. So they stole it. That's what they did. Now, in turn, Paul Levi explains that this idea is the very same one that Carl Jung used to explain the concept of shadow. These are two authors who wrote books explaining and talking about this in detail. And they say there's a concept of shadow, which is like a darker side of yourself. Shadow is the archetype of the unconsciousness that we all share. Thus, common things like jealousy, greed, thirst for power, selfishness are actually products of our collective unconsciousness, our darkest shadows, and a self which has become disassociated from the conscious. A being that lets itself get carried away by despicable acts. And if you ask me, I would say two people that act that way, in my opinion, are Bill Gates and Dr. Fauci. That's my opinion. And here you see, it says jealousy looks terrible on you, yet you continue to wear it. That would be the racist. Racists are jealous. The only reason they hate Black people, the only reason they hate any other people that's other than themselves, is because they're clearly jealous of those people. Those people have something clearly that they want but can't have. And it isn't anything materialistic, because they know that they can always make money, but at the end of the day, it's melanin. Therefore, we could say that the evil spirit defined by the Native Americans is different from Jung's idea, because it wasn't something that came from the external world that was bent on possessing us. Instead, it resided within ourselves. So with that being said, they had two different ideas. One of them felt that it was something that possessed the person and made them act wicked. And then the other author feels like it's something that's already within us. I'll say this much. It is within some people. Some people are inherently wicked and evil, and they were born that way. And those people are whom I call psychopaths. Those people don't need to be possessed by a demonic entity or a demonic energy, because they were born with one. So they were always wicked from the beginning. And actually, we all carry that shadow within us, but it's up to us to give power to it. Yeah, we can all get mad and act crazy and do all kinds of, depraved things if we wanted to. But people who are humane and people who are, spiritually in tune with themselves, with nature, with the Most High, these people don't act that way. And this is Black people as a collective. We have some of our people who do foolish and nefarious things, but as a collective, Black people are not that way. And if we were, we would have sought revenge on our oppressors long ago. But since we haven't, it would be safe to assume. And also, Black people are very forgiving, because you see, when they go out here and kill Black people unarmed, and they lynch Black people's children and all these things, and wives and husbands, Black people have continued to forgive them. So that shows you the contrast between people who have humanity within them, people who have a higher level of consciousness and a high vibrational frequency, as opposed to demons and devils who clearly have a low vibrational frequency. Now, you can eliminate the virus of selfishness from your life. And one way by doing so is getting rid of what Carl Jung calls the daemon, or the demon of your shadow. It feeds off of greed, envy, contempt, and the thirst for power or domination. Now, these things have done terrible, terrible things to mankind throughout history. Yes, they have. And let me tell you something. These people who allow themselves to be controlled by demonic energies, these are usually people who, they don't care about being good people. They don't care about doing anything, that's beneficial to society or to their own community even. They only care about what is good for themselves. That's why they don't mind going out here, and sacrificing someone else's life for something that they want. They don't care about that, because they're selfish, and they feed off of greed, envy, and contempt, and a thirst for power. This is why you see how the United States and globally, you see why things are happening the way they are, because some people who are the 1%, the elite, the global elitists, yeah, they feed off of greed, envy, contempt, and they also have a thirst for power. They want to control everyone and everything, and that is a fact. This is what they want to do, and that is why they're engaged in the nefarious things they're engaged in as of now. Now, the evil of Watico has governed our world for quite some time. We give it power, we obey it, and we let ourselves get carried away by it. Our responsibility is to be aware of it. Yes, when wicked, demonic energy is upon you, and it usually comes in the form of someone else who has it first, and then, as I said, energy is contagious. So these wicked beings can have their energy rub off on you. But you have to make sure you're aware of these people so that you can distance yourself from them. Because remember, you cannot live a positive life when you continue to engage in negative activities, low vibrational energy, and negative people. because these people, their energy will bring out the worst in you if you're around them long enough. Now, if we allow or if we let ourselves be controlled by these impulses to possess what another person has and to manipulate them for our own benefits, even at the cost of harming them, we'll fall into a collective psychosis where we would all end up losing. Selfishness is not a modern evil. It's an old illness we still haven't managed to eradicate. No, we have not managed to eradicate it because there are some people who get a joy and a kick out of being evil. As I told you, they get euphoric pleasure. They don't want to change. They're perfectly happy with the way that they have been doing things because the way they've been doing things, in fact, gives them power, control, and domination. And that is what they want to keep. That is why they keep their foot on the necks of other people whom they feel are beneath them. This is why they hide the truth. This is why they lie and manipulate and pander and do all these wicked things. This is why they try to use divide and conquer tactics and turn people against one another so that nobody's pointing the finger of blame and shame at them. These are what wicked, devilish people do. They always try to paint narratives and push agendas, and they always try to silence people who expose them and silence people who tell the truth. Because the wicked, they hate the truth because the lie is what's in them, and they are of their father, the devil. And this is why they tell many lies. They have forked tongues. And when they see someone telling the truth, and especially the truth of who they are and what they are, they want that to stop. So they try to silence those people. And in fact, they have killed many of them. Now we need to reflect if we can, if we want to work on our shadow and kill our Watico. At the end of the day, the inner demon is nothing more than our underdeveloped, underworked, neglected personality. You see, some people don't know how to keep themselves focused on the positive. It's very easy to focus on the negative. If you're short for money, if you are having a hard time with your health or whatever, it's very easy for you to get caught up in the practice or the pattern of feeling sorry for yourself and thinking only on the negative, saying, oh, well, I'm broke. Oh, well, I'm just not doing good. I'm sick and this and that. All of those negative thoughts, those thoughts are energy and you manifest them. So anytime you're thinking negative things about yourself or about a situation, you literally make those things happen. So rather than being pessimistic, even though things may look grim, remember, things can always get better. There's always room for improvement, and there's always a chance to change things before it's too late. So if you think positively, you can sometimes turn things around. But you have to think positively. In the Bible, it says, whatsoever a man thinketh, that so he is. Henry Ford also said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So if you think that you can't accomplish your goals, if you think that you can't get a better job, if you think that you can't make more money, if you think that you can't, get the things that you want out of life, if you think that you can't control the things that happen in your life, then you won't be able to do any of those things. You have to manifest things by thinking positively and speaking these things into existence and giving yourself daily affirmations that remind you of who you are and to remind you that you can create your own future. You can create your own reality with positive thinking, a positive mindset, and being in the company of like-minded people who also vibrate on a high level of frequency and who also positive thinkers, rather than being around people who are negative. And a lot of times people are around negative people because they have some type of attachment to those people, and they feel like they become complacent, like they're used to it. It becomes the norm to them. But you should never allow it to be normal to you to have other people putting you down, talking trash about you, trying to discourage you from your dreams and telling you all these negative things. You should never make that the norm, because that is not normal behavior. Those are the behaviors of a hater. And you want to be around people who they're smiling, they're laughing, they encourage you, they motivate you, and you in fact inspire them. Those are the type of people that you want to be around. Now it's a part of ourselves that we're hiding. By hiding it, we allow it to go out alone in search of nourishment. We let it feed off of greed and envy. Heal from the virus of selfishness by working on our inner struggles growing as a person and dealing with a shadow that's hindering you and humanity from living life to the fullest. If you want to live your best life, you have to always be in an upbeat, positive mood, raise your levels of consciousness, meditate, practice self-hypnosis, make sure you discipline yourself, try to eat a healthy diet, because let me tell you something, toxic foods that you consume, toxic drinks that you consume, such as beer, liquor, and things like that, that all lowers the vibrational frequency. And as I told you before, that is why they call some of the liquor stores, they call them spirits, or they say, it's spirits when you're drinking, because they do allow you to take on other spirits, and none of them are good. They allow you, when you drink alcohol, especially in excess, it allows you to take on negative spirits, i.e. demons. If you ever wonder why people get into fights when they get drunk, that's because of the negative spirits. If you ever wonder why somebody, they can be in a good mood, an upbeat mood, and all of a sudden they drink and they suddenly become another person, that's because they are, in fact, another person. They are a person that is now being controlled by a demon. So that is why it's very important for us to make sure that we refrain from doing things that feed our negative inner self, our lower vibrational self, because as above, so below. We have a higher self and we have a lower self. And the one that you show to the world depends solely on you. If you allow other people to trigger you and to provoke you, and so that the worst of you comes out, then you need to stop doing that. Because let me tell you something, when people can say or do things to tick you off and to push your buttons and make you act out of character, that means they literally control you. That's what they do. They control you. And that is another reason why racist people actually try to provoke Black people, because they want to control your emotions, because they know Black people are emotional by nature. So they want to control your emotions. And when they can't do that, when they see that you're laughing, you're still in a good mood or whatever, that really bothers them. That really ticks them off, because now they don't have you under control. And that's exactly what their whole ultimate goal is. And to get you killed by the police if they can, or locked up, or just in any way that they can, create obstacles for you or make things bad for you, because they don't want to see you happy at all. And there's also other people that I call psyche vampires. These psyche vampires are people who are always low vibrational, negative, pessimistic, and all they want to do to you is talk to you about their problems. That's all they want to do. Now, there's nothing wrong with listening to people's problems. In fact, we should, because when we listen to people's problems, often we can help them and encourage them and motivate them and help them to get in a better mindset. But at the end of the day, there are some people who just go too far. They don't talk to you about their problems because they want you to give them a solution, because they don't want a solution. They only want you to feel sorry for them. They want to have pity parties, and they want to invite you to it. And they want to sit there and feel sorry for themselves. Oh, woe is me. Those types of people. Those people never have anything good to say about you, themselves, or anyone else. Everything they say and do is completely negative. Those people are psychic vampires, because they literally suck and drain the life and energy out of you. And it's very hard to be positive when you're around the company of these people. That's why you should distance yourselves from them. If you see someone is going through something and they're having a hard time and they're trying to talk to you about it, listen to them, offer them words of encouragement, try to let them know that things can and will get better. Do the best that you can to make them feel better after having the conversation with you. But if you find that that person is continually has a habit of coming to you about problems all the time, even though you've tried to encourage them, they continue to be pessimistic and continue to speak in the negative, then you need to remove yourself from that person's presence and tell them, listen, I wish you all the best. I love you. I hope things get better. I will be praying for you, but I cannot engage in this because it is too negative and it's clearly draining. And in fact, the advice that I have given you obviously has not helped. Just tell them something like that. Because you don't have time to sit there and dwell on their problems and the things they're going through every day, every week, day in and day out. You have your own issues. And these people will do nothing but suck the life out of you, having you feeling down and depressed before you even realize it. And another thing that I notice about these types of people is that though they love to tell you about their problems, they never want to listen to yours when you need someone to talk to. That's when they're nowhere to be found. And if you want to try a test on them, the next time one of those people call you, and you know they're about to tell you a sob story, beat them to the punch and say, hey, you know what? Let me tell you this. Wow, you know, I'm having such a hard time. You wouldn't believe what happened. And then start telling them a problem that you're having, and I guarantee you, they will try to get off that phone, or they will try to leave your presence because they don't want to hear your problems. They don't care about your problems. They just want you to listen to theirs. It is possible to be too happy-go-lucky. Is it possible to be too happy-go-lucky? I met people that are always happy no matter what bad things happen in their lives. It seems like that's the only emotion they have. Is that a good thing, Queen? Thank you for your question, Brandon, and for your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings to you. Let me tell you something. I don't think there's a problem with always being happy. You see, here's the thing. People who laugh and who still have a good time and who still can smile, even in the midst of a storm when things are going bad, those people have learned how to control their emotions. They have learned how to not deal in negativity. They also know that there's a silver lining at the end of every dark cloud. So with that all being said, these people, they don't let things get them down. They don't let people or circumstances break them. They've probably gone through a great bit of suffering in their life. And by now they have obviously realized that, hey, worrying about things that I can't change is not going to make those things any better. Sitting up here crying and feeling sorry for myself is not going to make those things better. Thinking negative thoughts is not going to make those things better. So you know what? I'm going to continue to be happy. I'm going to continue to smile. I will have to worry about these things as they come. I will have to deal with them as they come. I'll do the best I can to improve the situation. But at the same time, I refuse to worry about it. Those people have peace of mind. Because the people who can't smile, who always frowning, who always upset, who always worried and stressed, those people never have peace of mind. And they also have poor health because those things cause disease. That's why it's called disease. It's dis-ease. You can never be at ease when you're constantly worrying, stressing, and so upset about things that are going on. And you feel like you're at the end of the road, at the end of your rope, right? One thing that I learned when I was growing up, there was a teacher that used to tell us, and in fact, she had it posted on a board in the room. It said, when you feel like you've come to the end of your rope, tie a knot and hang on. I always remember that. So these people who are smiling, though they're going through troubles, they know that if they just hang on, if they just keep the faith, and if they just keep trying to do good and thinking positive, they can turn those things around. Thinking negative is only going to make the situations worse. That's why the song that Bobby McFerrin wrote, don't worry, be happy. Absolutely. There's no need to worry when you can't change things. And I know it's hard sometimes, but if you just take a minute to realize that the more that you worry, the worse it gets. Just think about it. The worse it gets. But when you are happy and when you can still smile, you'll stop worrying so much. And here's another thing. Here's a test that you can do. I was at a seminar one time years ago, and one of the speakers said, you know, our emotions operate under the pull of gravity. If you think about when you're happy and you're in an upbeat mood, you hold your head up high. That's why people say, keep your chin up or hold your head up. But when you're depressed and you're feeling low vibrational, you'll happen to hold your head down. And if you look up into the sky and you smile, it's very hard to be sad. Just think about that. If you look up and hold your head up and smile, it's very hard to feel sadness if you can do that. Another thing to note is happiness and sadness cannot reside in the same place at the same time. Happiness and sadness cannot reside in the same place at the same time. Because this is why you'll see people like Brandon spoke about, who are smiling even when they're going through something. They're smiling because they know happiness and sadness cannot reside in the same place at the same time. So they're likely smiling so they rid themselves of any sadness they would obviously be feeling had they not tried to maintain a positive composure or demeanor. Okay? Queen Candy J says, smile through the pain and not allowing myself to focus on negative energy. Nothing good comes out of carrying negativity that begets unnecessary drama and keeps you in the earthly frequency. Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. Gio says, I hate how I'm always positive and someone always be trying to trying me. The haters can kick rocks. Let me tell you something, beloved. The reason they try you is because you are always happy. Because some people don't like to see other people happy. I'm telling you, misery really does love company. Some people are not happy with themselves. They're not happy with their circumstances and the things that they're going through. So the only thing they can do to lash out is to try to ruin it for somebody else and make somebody else feel as miserable as they do. They cannot stand to see people smiling and happy and living their best life when they're not. Exactly, Queen. That's why I tell my daughters, choose your wording right, because words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay? I used to have a supervisor ask me, how can you be excellent every day? Because when asked how I was excellent was always my answer. My answer was, because it's a choice and I choose to be excellent every day. Absolutely, Melanated Brown. Absolutely. Queen Adia says they sure don't. They don't want to be you to be happy. Davida tells Gio, yes, they are haters. Absolutely. Haters don't wish you well. They wish you the worst because they are the worst. Let me tell you something that I've noticed in life. People who are happy are never haters. I want you to pay attention to that and tell me if I'm wrong. People who are happy are never haters. The only people who hate on other people are people who are not happy with themselves. Okay? Those are the only people that have time to hate. People who are happy with themselves, happy with their lives and their situations, and they're minding their own business. Those people don't have time to hate on anybody else. Because they're doing good and they're happy, they're good. So they want other people to be happy and to do good. But the people who are doing nothing with themselves, they have let themselves down. They have not reached their goals. They have not achieved anything. They look back on time and say that all these years have passed and I haven't done anything with my life and now I'm getting older. Those people who are in abusive relationships with a man or woman who verbally or physically abuses them and they're not happy with the relationship, but yet they stay in it for whatever reasons, and they see you married with somebody who's making you happy and you're going out and you're having a ball and you're living your best life, that bothers them. That bothers some people. Some people literally cannot stand to see other people happy. Let me tell you something that a person told me one time. Somebody once told me that they were going through something and they were having a hard time. And then one of their relatives called them, telling them about their good fortune. And they got mad. Don't call me telling me about your good time and this and that, or how things are going good for you when you know I'm over here effed up. This is what they said. That is a hater. My thing is this. If you are not happy about your situation, then change it. But don't wish badness on other people. Why would you get mad because somebody else is having a good time and things are going well for them? Unless you're a hater. You hate to see other people doing good when you're doing bad. Yes, that's absolutely what many people do. And that is a sad thing, because at the end of the day, whether I'm doing good or bad, I always want to see other people win. I never want to see other people, especially my people, lose. Who does that? That is just wicked and nefarious. And those people are always low vibrational. Because how can you sit there and hate on someone who's done nothing to you? A lot of times they don't even really know you, but they will hate on you just because you look like you're happy, you got it going on or whatever, and they know they don't. And that's very sad. That is very sad that they have people like that. Yes, Sexy Ball says it is a parasitic mindset. Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. Vampires, okay? Sucking the life out of you and trying to steal your joy. What does it say about the devil in the Bible? The devil comes to rob, or the enemy comes to rob, steal, kill, and destroy. That's what these people do. They come to steal your joy, rob you of your peace, right? And kill your spirits. That's what they come to do. They want to kill your spirits. And if you're wondering why some of these people hate on you, and you may say, well, I'm not even rich, I don't have a lot of money, why are they hating on me? They don't hate on other people. Let me tell you something. Like a lady told me years ago, it's not always because of what you have. It's not always material things, which sometimes it is, but often it's just because of the person who you are. A lot of times it's just because of the person of who you are. There are people that hate on me because I keep it real, because I'm authentic, because I tell people the truth, because I don't put on facades. I can tell you if I'm doing good, and I can tell you if I'm doing bad. I don't have to put on airs and pretend that everything's just all happy and everything's just all this, that, and the third. But some people are so fake. They don't know how to keep it real. They suffer from identity crises, so they don't even know who they really are. And so therefore they mimic other people. They try to talk like other people, steal other people's catchphrases, mimic other people's talking points. They try to dress like other people, just do whatever other people are doing. And they do that because they have identity crisis issues. They don't know who they are, so they don't know how to be a genuine person. They're fake and they're frauds. And they hate to see people who keep it real and who are real and authentic. That bothers them. So that is why many people will hate on you for those reasons, as well as having material things. And it's even worse when they hate on you for those things, because at the end of the day, they somehow, somewhere deep down inside, they may feel like they can accomplish, the material things that you have. But they know that these other qualities, these characteristics, these things that come from that resonate from the fiber of your being, they know they don't have those things, and they know they never will. And they know that it's nowhere they can go and purchase them. So that bothers them more than anything. Trust me. It sure is not all that, but I will speak the changes in my life. Absolutely. Last summer, this car full of people seen me walking and sprayed me with water and told me I shouldn't be dressed so nice. I was pissed. This was during the scandemic. Wow. Are you serious, Davita? Now, I can tell you right there, that is nothing but some haters, right? So they had to spray you because you were looking so good? That's real crazy. They just had to ruin your day, honey. That's what that was. Because of the spirit in you, the evil them in them recognize you. Yes. And I'm very glad you said that, Chelsea. Chelsea says, because of the spirit in you, the evil in them recognize you. Yes, let me tell you something. When people don't like you for no reason, you've done nothing to them, and they just don't like you and hate on you for whatever reason, and you're wondering, they ask me, what did I do to them? Let me tell you something. Your spirit upsets their demons. That's absolutely what it is. Your spirit bothers their demons. Because at the end of the day, as I told you before, demons have to reside in chaos. They can never reside in a peaceful environment. Demons come to sow seeds of discord, to have angst and disdain and all of these wicked, nefarious things. So when your spirit is a spirit of peace and tranquility, and you are a person that's humane and kind and selfless, and they are selfish and wicked and evil and hateful, they will not like you. Their demons recognize that, and they want to destroy it. And the one thing that they will try to do is to kill your spirit and destroy your mood and take your joy. That's what they do. Okay? Hold on, people. Hold on. I'm trying to read some of these comments. Queen, our sister Aura, was very bright and beautiful. That's what they saw in the clothing. Absolutely. My aunt had a friend that just hated me. Never did anything to this woman, and she was older than me. Shaking my head. She dead now. She suffered from diabetes, had amputations, and had a baby that was sick. Whew. Let me tell you something. The karma comes back in the universe. Karma comes back. There's one thing you can't escape. And some people think that you see other people out here doing wicked things and they look like they're living their best lives. They're not. That's all a front and a facade. You see, they hide what they're going through. But a lot of these people, and even if they don't get their karma in this life, they'll get it in the spiritual realm. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Because whatever is done, it always comes back. And it may not even come back to them as something bad happening directly to them. It could happen indirectly to them, like one of their children. Something could happen to one of their children. Let me tell you an example, and then I'm going to close out this broadcast. So my family back in the 60s owned like 200 acres of land, right? That one of our relatives who's an entrepreneur had purchased, and he left it to his daughters. And so this racist man tricked them out of the land. You see, they couldn't read or write because they weren't privy to go to school, and back then there was a lot of people that couldn't read and write, like in the 40s and 50s. But in the 60s, as they had gotten older, this man came to them and he wanted that land for himself. So he told them, he said, oh, I want to know if I can put some trailers on this land and rent it out to people and I'll pay you every month. And he told them a price he would pay and they agreed to it. So he brought the contract paperwork over. And by the fact that they couldn't read, they didn't know what it said. So they took his word for it. So they signed it, you know, they put an X or whatever. And then maybe a couple of days later, he comes back and tells them to pack their bags and get off the land. This is his land now. They're like, what are you talking about? This is our land. Our father left this to us. He says, no, this is my land. You sold it to me the other day. So they unwittingly gave him the land, and the money that he gave them that they were thinking was for him renting the land. No, that was the little bit that he was only paying them for purchasing 200 acres. They took him to court and they lost. And as things would have it, when he was on his deathbed, he told his children who were grown to give them back the land. Because I guess he wanted to get into heaven, you see. Now that he's on knocking on death's door, now he wants to try to right his wrongs before he goes into the spiritual realm. So he says to his children, give them back their land. But the children didn't. So you know what happened shortly thereafter that? His adult children and their kids, they were all going on a trip to California. They were driving and they had a bad car accident on the way back and 5 of them died. 5 of them died. So karma comes back one way or another. And that's just a fact. That wasn't a coincidence. Yes, General Louverture, he was a bastard. Absolutely. That happened to a lot of our ancestors and family members. So much of our land has been stolen from by these evil demons. We need to take our land back from these evil people. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So with that all being said, people, I hope you enjoyed this live. I'm going to conclude this, and I would like to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure that you like and share the video. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I will be going live on the root of all evil and on true crime at the same time today. I'm going to be doing that at 5 o'clock, and then at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be going live with your daily vitamins. Okay, so make sure that you tune back in. All right, enjoy the rest of this lovely day. Did they give their land back then, or they want? No, they didn't give the land back. No, honey, they never did. Every time I ride down there to my hometown, I see the land, and clearly their folks still own it. Okay, so that's how that went. Ladybug77 says, yes, very informative. Thanks, Queen. You're welcome, beloved. You're welcome. So thank you all, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this day. And I hope to see you all right back in the chats at 5 o'clock. All right, for the root of all evil, Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents the root of all evil, and Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents true crime. All right, until next time, peace.